The gun felt heavier than Marcus ever imagined. His hand trembled, not from fear, but from the weight of certainty. The kind of certainty that comes when you've seen something you can never unsee, read words that rewire your entire existence in seconds. The bedroom was cold. Too cold for July in Atlanta. Or maybe it was just him, his blood turned to ice water, his chest hollow, his breath shallow and ragged. Sarah stood 15 feet away, her back against the closet door, hands raised like she was calming a wild animal. Her lips were moving. She was saying something. Pleading, probably. But Marcus couldn't hear her over the roaring in his ears. Behind her, partially hidden by the door frame, stood him. Jared. I am 23 years old. Sarah's personal trainer. The man whose name had appeared 247 times in her messages over the last 6 weeks. The screen of Sarah's phone still glowed in Marcus's left hand. The messages were still there. Still real. I need you inside me again. Tonight. Marcus will be working late. Asterisk. His finger tightened on the trigger. Marcus Anthony Caldwell *** was born on March 14, 1978, in Birmingham, Alabama, to a single mother who cleaned houses for a living. He learned early that trust was currency, you didn't give it freely, and when you did, you protected it with everything you had. By 46, he'd built himself into something his younger self could barely imagine, senior architect at Hartman & Associates, a corner office overlooking Peachtree Street, a 6-figure salary, and a beautiful home in Buckhead. But none of that mattered as much as Sarah. Sarah Michelle Caldwell ***, née Porter, born May 2, 1985, in Savannah, Georgia, was the daughter of a Baptist minister and a schoolteacher. She grew up believing in redemption, second chances, and the power of forgiveness. She was 39 now, with honey brown skin that still turned heads, a master's degree in social work she no longer used, and a growing emptiness she'd learned to hide behind spin classes and book clubs. They met in 2009 at a charity gala. Marcus was 31, hungry, building his career brick by brick. Sarah was 24, fresh out of grad school, volunteering with at-risk youth. He fell for her laugh first, uninhibited, genuine, the kind that made everyone around her want to laugh too. She fell for his quiet intensity, the way he listened like her words actually mattered. They married in 2011. A small ceremony at her father's church. Marcus's mother cried through the entire thing. For years, it worked. They worked. Marcus provided, not just money, but stability, safety, the kind of life Sarah's parents approved of. She brought warmth to his world, softness to his edges. They talked about children but kept postponing. First, it was Marcus's career. Then Sarah wanted to go back to school. Then the market crashed, and Marcus worked 80-hour weeks to keep them afloat. By 2024, they'd been married 13 years. They had everything they'd worked for. Except for each other. Marcus couldn't remember the last time they'd had a real conversation, not about bills or groceries or whose turn it was to call the plumber. He worked late because the office felt less lonely than home. Sarah joined the gym because being around strangers felt less isolating than being around her husband. Neither of them called it what it was, slow death by 1,000 small distances. Marcus still loved her. He was certain of that. Love wasn't the problem. The problem was that love, alone, wasn't enough to bridge the canyon that had opened between them. On July 19, 2026, a Saturday, they went to the Botanical Gardens for their anniversary. 13 years. Sarah wore a yellow sundress that made her look like the girl he'd married. Marcus bought her favorite flowers, white peonies. They took selfies by the Japanese garden. They smiled. They held hands. It felt like playing house in the ruins of something real. "I love you," Sarah said as they drove home. "I love you too," Marcus replied. Neither of them was lying. But neither was telling the whole truth, either. That night, Marcus noticed Sarah's phone lighting up repeatedly during dinner. She turned it face down without checking it. "Work?" he asked. "Probably," she said, not meeting his eyes. To understand how Marcus Caldwell ended up holding a gun in his own bedroom, you have to understand Birmingham in the 1980s. His mother, Lorraine Caldwell, worked 3 jobs to keep Marcus and his younger sister fed. His father was a ghost, a name on a birth certificate, nothing more. Marcus grew up watching his mother's hands crack and bleed from cleaning solutions. He watched her smile disappear year by year, replaced by exhaustion so deep it lived in her bones. "You're gonna be different," she told him when he got into Auburn on a partial scholarship. "You're gonna build something that lasts." Marcus took that literally. He studied architecture because buildings endured. They didn't leave. They didn't betray. If you built them right, they stood for generations. He graduated in 2000, at the bottom of the dot-com bubble. Jobs were scarce. He worked as a draftsman for $32,000 a year, lived in a studio apartment with furniture from Goodwill, and sent money home to his mother every month. He ate ramen and learned CAD software at night. He worked harder than everyone around him because he had no safety net, no family connections, no plan B. By the time he met Sarah, he was making $78,000 a year and had just been promoted to junior architect. He was somebody. He'd built himself from nothing. Sarah's story was different but parallel. Her father, Reverend Thomas Porter, ran a small church in Savannah's black community. He preached redemption on Sundays and counseled broken families during the week. Sarah grew up watching her father forgive men who hit their wives, addicts who stole from their own children, and prodigal sons who came home only when they needed money. "Everybody deserves grace," he'd say. Sarah inherited his capacity for forgiveness. But she also inherited something else. The exhaustion of always being the understanding one, the patient one, the one who bent until she nearly broke. She went to Spelman College, studied social work, dreamed of changing the world. She volunteered at shelters, worked with teen mothers, counseled families in crisis. She believed people could change if you loved them hard enough. Then she burned out. By 2018, 7 years into her marriage, Sarah stopped working. Marcus made enough for both of them. She told herself she needed a break, that she'd go back eventually. But eventually never came. Instead, she filled her days with yoga, brunches with friends who also didn't work, and online shopping. She felt purposeless. Decorative. Like an expensive vase Marcus kept on a shelf. She didn't tell him this. How could she? He worked so hard to give her the life they had. Complaining felt like betrayal. So she smiled. She planned elaborate dinners he was too tired to appreciate. She redecorated rooms he barely noticed. She went to bed alone and woke up alone and lived alone inside a marriage that looked perfect from the outside. Jared Mitchell *** entered her life in April 2026. 23 years old. Personal trainer at Equinox. Hazel eyes, easy smile, the kind of body that came from loving the gym, not needing to prove anything. He approached Sarah during her 3rd week at the gym. "Your form on those squats is almost perfect," he said. "Want me to show you how to make it flawless?" She should have said no. She said yes. The changes were subtle at first. Sarah started coming home from the gym glowing, not just from exercise, but from something else Marcus couldn't name. She bought new workout clothes, expensive leggings, sports bras that showed more than they hid. She started caring about her appearance again in a way she hadn't in years. Marcus told himself this was good. She seemed happier. Lighter. But there were other signs. She stopped initiating sex. When he initiated, she participated but didn't engage, like she was fulfilling a contract, checking a box. Her mind was elsewhere. She laughed at her phone. Not with Marcus. On her phone. "What's funny?" he asked one night. "Just a meme from the book club group," she said, turning the screen away. He didn't press. He trusted her. Trust was the foundation of everything Marcus had built. His career. His marriage. His sense of self. Without trust, the whole structure collapsed. June brought more distance. Sarah started working out 6 days a week, sometimes twice a day. She said it helped her mental health, that she'd been feeling depressed and the endorphins helped. Marcus encouraged it. He wanted her to be happy, even if her happiness no longer seemed to include him. They stopped eating dinner together. Marcus worked late. Sarah had plans: book club, girls' night, yoga at 8 p.m. The house felt like a museum they both visited at different hours. On July 4th, they went to a barbecue at Marcus's colleague's house. Sarah spent most of the evening on her phone, texting someone, smiling at the screen. "Everything okay?" Marcus asked. "Fine," she said, putting the phone away. "Just coordinating with Michelle about next week." Michelle was Sarah's friend from college. Marcus had met her a dozen times. This felt plausible. But later that night, Marcus found Sarah in the bathroom, door locked, water running, talking to someone in hushed tones. "I can't talk right now," she whispered. "Tomorrow. I promise." When she came out, Marcus was standing there. "Who was that?" "Michelle. She's having issues with her boyfriend." "At midnight?" "She's in California. Time difference." It made sense. It should have made sense. But something in Marcus's chest tightened like a fist. He started noticing more. The new perfume she wore to the gym but never around him. The way she angled her phone away when he walked into a room. The credit card charges for restaurants he'd never been to, on days she said she was at yoga. He didn't want to be the husband who snooped. Who doubted. Who checked his wife's phone like some insecure teenager. But the architecture of their marriage had cracks he couldn't ignore. On July 18th, the night before their anniversary, Sarah came home at 11 p.m. from what she said was a late yoga class. Her hair was wet. She smelled like hotel soap. "How was yoga?" Marcus asked. "Intense," she said. "I'm exhausted. Going straight to bed." She kissed his cheek. The kiss felt like punctuation. The end of a sentence he didn't want to finish reading. That night, Marcus lay awake, staring at the ceiling, feeling the weight of everything unspoken pressing down on his chest. He knew. Somewhere deep in his bones, in the same place that had helped him survive Birmingham and build a life from nothing, he knew. He just didn't know how bad it was yet. July 19th, 2026. Their anniversary. The botanical gardens were beautiful, all blooming hydrangeas and carefully manicured paths. Sarah looked radiant in yellow. They walked hand in hand like they had 13 years ago, like they were still those people. "Remember our honeymoon?" Sarah asked, stopping by the koi pond. "Charleston," Marcus said. "You insisted we visit every historical site. And you complained the entire time." "I didn't complain. I provided constructive feedback about your itinerary." She laughed. Actually, I laughed. For a moment, Marcus saw the woman he'd married, the one who made him believe in second chances, in building something beautiful from nothing. "I want to take a picture," Sarah said, pulling out her phone. "By the waterfall. For Instagram." She handed Marcus her phone. This was the moment. The hinge upon which everything turned. Marcus took the phone. The screen was unlocked. He opened the camera app and framed the shot, Sarah in her yellow dress, the waterfall cascading behind her, sunlight filtering through the trees. Click. "Let me see," Sarah said, reaching for the phone. But Marcus's thumb accidentally swiped left instead of handing it back. The photo gallery opened. And there, on the screen, was a picture he'd never seen before. Sarah. Naked from the waist up. Mirror selfie. Taken 3 days ago, based on the timestamp. Marcus's heart stopped. Sarah saw his face change. She lunged for the phone. Marcus, give it. But he was already swiping. More photos. Sarah in lingerie he'd never seen. Sarah in a hotel room. Sarah with someone's hand on her hip, the photo cropped to hide the face but showing enough. Enough to know. Marcus, please. He opened her messages. The name at the top, Jared. 247 messages. His hands shook as he scrolled. Last night was incredible. I can't stop thinking about you. Asterisk. When can I see you again? I need to taste you. Asterisk. I've never felt this way before. You're everything. Asterisk. And Sarah's responses. Tonight. 7 p.m. The usual place. Asterisk. I need you inside me again. Marcus will be working late. Asterisk. I love the way you make me feel. Young again. Alive. Asterisk. The phone slipped from Marcus's hands. Sarah caught it, but the damage was done. Marcus stood there, tourists walking past them, a child laughing somewhere in the distance, the waterfall rushing behind them, and his entire world collapsed inward like a building imploding. Marcus, I can explain. How long? His voice didn't sound like his own. It's not what you. How long? People were staring now. Sarah's face crumpled. 3 months, she whispered. 3 months. 90 days of lies. Of coming home smelling like someone else and kissing Marcus goodnight. Of sitting across from him at dinner, planning their anniversary, all while fucking someone else. Marcus turned and walked away. Sarah followed, crying, begging, trying to explain. He didn't hear her. He heard nothing but white noise and the sound of his own breathing and the crack of everything he'd built splitting apart. Marcus drove home in silence. Sarah sat in the passenger seat, makeup running, trying to explain. It didn't mean anything. Don't. He's just a kid. It was a mistake. Sarah, I swear to God, if you say another word. She stopped talking. At home, Marcus went straight to his office and locked the door. He sat at his desk, the same desk where he'd drafted their dream home, where he'd planned their future, and opened his laptop. He logged into their bank account. 7 charges to the Ritz-Carlton. All on Tuesday afternoons, the same day Sarah said she had therapy. He checked her credit card. Victoria's Secret. Agent Provocateur. Lingerie he'd never seen her wear. He found the hotel reservation emails in her trash folder. Rooms booked under her name. Always the same room. 417. He found deleted photos recovered from the cloud. Sarah and Jared. At restaurants Marcus couldn't afford when they were dating. At the movies. At his apartment, Marcus recognized the background from the gym's Instagram photos. Young, fit people doing young, fit people things. Sarah and Jared at the Botanical Gardens. The same waterfall where Marcus had just taken their anniversary photo. She'd been there with him first. Every happy memory Marcus had from the past 3 months was contaminated now. Every smile, every "I love you," every anniversary plan, all of it built on a foundation of lies. He found their text thread from April 23rd, the first day. Jared asterisk 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 you're gorgeous. Your husband's a lucky man, asterisk. Sarah asterisk asterisk he used to think so. Jared asterisk asterisk his loss could be my gain. Sarah. Is that a proposition? Jared asterisk asterisk only if you're interested.
Sarah ***, meet me after your shift. That simple. That easy. 13 years of marriage, and it took one conversation with a 23-year-old for her to cross that line. Marcus read every message. All 247 of them. He tortured himself with the details, the pet names, the inside jokes, the explicit descriptions of what they did in room 417. He found videos. He didn't watch them. He couldn't. But he saw the thumbnails. That was enough. By midnight, Marcus sat in the dark of his office, staring at a screen full of evidence that his marriage was a fiction. Sarah knocked on the door. "Baby, please. Let's talk about this." "There's nothing to talk about. I'll end it. I'll never see him again. We can go to counseling." "You fucked him in our bed, Sarah." Silence. "The sheets I found in the hamper last week. Tuesday I came home early and you said you just showered. He was here. In our house." "Marcus. Get out. This is my house too. Get out." He heard her footsteps retreating. Heard her crying in the bedroom. Heard her on the phone, probably calling Michelle, or her mother, or maybe Jared himself. Marcus didn't care. He sat in the dark and felt something fundamental inside him break. Not his heart, hearts break and heal. This was different. This was the part of him that believed in building, in foundations, in trust as the bedrock of everything. That part of him died in his office that night. What replaced it was something colder. Harder. Something that understood the world not as a place to build beautiful things, but as a place where beautiful things were destroyed by people who took vows they never meant to keep. For 3 days, Marcus didn't speak to Sarah. He slept in his office. He went to work. He functioned. From the outside, no one would know that Marcus Caldwell's world had ended. But inside, a transformation was occurring. Marcus had always been a builder. His entire identity was constructed around creation, buildings, careers, relationships. He believed in planning, in foundations, in doing things the right way. But Sarah had shown him the truth: you could do everything right and still lose everything. He thought about his mother. About how his father had abandoned her, left her to raise 2 children alone. He'd promised himself he'd never be like his father, he'd stay, he'd provide, he'd build something lasting. And he had. He'd built a beautiful life. And Sarah had burned it down for a 23-year-old with abs. On the 4th day, Marcus found himself thinking about Marcus Aurelius. He'd read Meditations in college, mostly to impress a philosophy professor. But now, sitting in the ruins of his marriage, the Stoic emperor's words came back to him. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Asterisk. Marcus couldn't control Sarah. He couldn't control Jared. He couldn't control the fact that his 13-year marriage was over. But he could control his response. He could accept what had happened without being destroyed by it. He could choose how to move forward. On July 23rd, Marcus finally spoke to Sarah. She was in the kitchen, making coffee, when he came downstairs. We need to talk, he said. She turned, hopeful. I'm so glad you're ready to. I want a divorce. The hope drained from her face. Marcus, please. I've already spoken to a lawyer. I'm filing next week. You can keep the house. I'll take the condo downtown. We'll split everything else 50-50. I don't want your money. I want our marriage. Our marriage ended the first time you fucked him, Sarah. Everything since then has been me living in a lie. People make mistakes. Mistakes are accidents. This was a choice. 247 messages. 90 days. That's not a mistake. That's a decision you made every single day for 3 months. Tears streamed down her face.
I was lonely. So was I. His voice was flat. Emotionless. I was lonely in my own marriage, sleeping next to someone who didn't want me anymore. But I didn't fuck my secretary. That's not fair. Fair. Marcus laughed, but there was no humor in it. You want to talk about fair? I worked 80-hour weeks to give you this life. I came home exhausted and you weren't there because you were fucking someone else. And I'm supposed to forgive that because you were lonely? I love you. No. You love what I provide. The house. The lifestyle. The security. But you don't love me. If you did, you couldn't have done this. Sarah crumpled against the counter, sobbing. Marcus felt nothing. The part of him that would have comforted her, held her, forgiven her, that part was gone. What remained was something colder. More disciplined. A man who understood that feelings were luxuries he could no longer afford. I'll stay in the condo until the divorce is final, Marcus said. My lawyer will be in touch. He left her crying in the kitchen. He didn't look back. Marcus moved into the downtown condo on July 24th. It was a property he bought as an investment 3 years ago. Small. Efficient. The kind of place a man lived when he was building something, not maintaining it. He liked minimalism. No memories here. No ghosts of the life he'd lost. For 2 weeks, Marcus focused on work. He threw himself into a new project, a mixed-use development in Midtown. 60-hour weeks. He arrived first, left last. His colleagues whispered about the divorce, but no one asked directly. Good. He didn't want to talk about it. But at night, alone in the condo, Marcus couldn't stop thinking about Jared. The specifics haunted him. The kid was 23. Sarah was 39. Marcus was 46. What did a 23-year-old have that Marcus didn't? Youth. Energy. The kind of passion that comes from not knowing anything about real life yet. Marcus had been building a career when Jared was in kindergarten. The age gap felt obscene. Predatory, even. Sarah was nearly old enough to be Jared's mother. On August 2nd, Marcus did something he knew he shouldn't. He looked up Jared Mitchell on social media. The kid's Instagram was public. 14,000 followers. Shirtless gym photos. Motivational quotes about discipline and gains. Client transformations. Protein shake sponsorships. And in the photos from April through July, subtle hints of Sarah. A woman's hand in the background. Sarah's bracelet, the one Marcus had bought her for their 10th anniversary, visible in a mirror selfie from June. The kid had been posting evidence of the affair for months, and Marcus had never noticed. He scrolled deeper. Found a photo from July 19th. The day of Marcus's anniversary. A sunset shot with the caption, asterisk, perfect day with a perfect person. Asterisk. Marcus recognized the background, the botanical gardens. The same day. Maybe the same hour. While Marcus was taking anniversary photos with his wife, she was planning to meet Jared there later. Or had already been there with him earlier. The disrespect was staggering. Marcus called his lawyer. I need his name and address, Marcus said. Mr. Caldwell, I don't think. Just get it. The lawyer sighed. I'll have it by tomorrow. That night, Marcus cleaned his father's gun. He'd inherited it when his mother passed, a .38 special, kept in a lockbox Marcus rarely opened. He'd taken it to the range once, years ago, just to make sure it still worked. It did. Marcus told himself he just wanted to talk to Jared. To look the kid in the eye and ask him what kind of man knowingly destroys a marriage. But as he loaded the cylinder, as he felt the weight of the gun in his hand, Marcus knew he was lying to himself. August 8, 2026. 9 p.m. Marcus sat in his car outside Jared Mitchell's apartment complex in Virginia Highland. A modest building. The kind of place you lived when you were 23 and spent your money on supplements and club covers instead of rent. Marcus had been sitting there for 40 minutes when a silver BMW pulled into the parking lot. Sarah's car. Marcus's breath caught. She got out, carrying an overnight bag. She checked her phone, smiled, and walked into the building. Marcus waited 5 minutes. Then he got out of his car. The gun was in his jacket pocket. He took the elevator to the 3rd floor. Found apartment 312. He could hear music inside. Laughter. Marcus knocked. The door opened. Jared stood there, shirtless, in gray sweatpants. He looked exactly like his Instagram photos, young, handsome, confident. "Can I help you?" Jared asked. "I'm Marcus Caldwell," Marcus said. "Sarah's husband." Jared's face changed. The confidence evaporated. "Oh. Listen, man." Marcus pushed past him into the apartment. Sarah was on the couch, wearing one of Marcus's old Auburn t-shirts. She screamed when she saw him. "Marcus, what are you?" "Get out," Marcus said, not looking at her. "Marcus, please. Get out." Sarah grabbed her bag and ran. Marcus barely noticed. He was focused on Jared. The kid backed toward the bedroom, hands raised. "Look, man, I didn't know she was married at first." "Shut up. I'm serious. She told me she was separated." I said shut up. Marcus pulled the gun. Jared's eyes went wide. "Whoa, whoa, whoa. You're 23 years old," Marcus said, his voice eerily calm. "You have your whole life ahead of you. And you decided to spend it fucking another man's wife. She said you were getting divorced. We went to the botanical gardens for our anniversary. The same day you posted about being there with her. Did she tell you that?" Jared said nothing. "Answer me." "No," Jared whispered. Marcus felt the weight of the gun in his hand. He thought about Sarah, crying in their kitchen. He thought about the 247 messages. The videos. The Tuesday afternoons in room 417. He thought about his mother, cleaning houses until her hands bled. He thought about Marcus Aurelius, *, "The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury." *. Marcus lowered the gun. "You're a coward," he said to Jared. "You saw an opportunity to fuck someone out of your league and you took it, consequences be damned. You're 23. Maybe one day you'll grow up and realize what you did. But I doubt it." He turned to leave. "I'm sorry," Jared said quietly. Marcus stopped at the door. "No, you're not. You're sorry you got caught. There's a difference." He walked out. In the hallway, Sarah was waiting, mascara running, bag clutched to her chest. "Marcus, thank God." "I thought." "You thought what?" "That I'd kill him." Marcus laughed bitterly. "He's not worth it. Neither are you. Please. We can still fix this." "There's nothing to fix, Sarah. You broke it. All of it. And you don't get to be scared now. You don't get to play victim. I made a mistake. You made a choice. Every day for 3 months, you chose him over me. Over us. Own it." She sobbed. "I'm so sorry. I know you are. You're sorry you lost the life I gave you. The house. The security. But you're not sorry enough to have stopped yourself before it came to this." Marcus walked to the elevator. Sarah followed, pleading, but he didn't hear her anymore. The doors closed. He rode down alone. The divorce was finalized on November 3rd, 2026. Sarah kept the house, as Marcus promised. He kept the condo, his retirement accounts, and his dignity. She tried to reconcile twice, once through her lawyer, once by showing up at his office. Marcus declined both times. He heard through mutual friends that she and Jared broke up in September. Apparently, the thrill of the affair evaporated once it was no longer forbidden. Marcus didn't care. He threw himself into work. He took on projects no one else wanted. Difficult clients, impossible timelines, buildings that demanded everything he had. He stopped dating. Stopped trying. Friends tried to set him up. He politely refused. "I'm not ready," he said. The truth was different. He didn't trust himself to build something new. He'd been so certain about Sarah. About their foundation. And he'd been completely wrong. Better to stay alone than to risk that kind of destruction again. By Christmas, Marcus had designed 3 new buildings and lost 15 pounds. He looked harder. Older. His colleagues said he worked too much. He agreed, but didn't change. Work was safe. Work was controllable. Work didn't betray you. His mother would have been disappointed. She'd raised him to build, not to hide. But his mother never had to watch the thing she built most carefully collapse in front of her eyes. On December 31, 2026, Marcus stood on his condo balcony, watching fireworks over downtown Atlanta. 6 months since the Botanical Gardens. 6 months since his world ended. He wasn't the same man anymore. The old Marcus believed in foundations, in trust, in building things that lasted. That Marcus died in his office, reading 247 messages that destroyed everything he thought he knew. The new Marcus understood something the old one didn't: you could do everything right and still lose. You could be faithful, hardworking, devoted, and someone would still choose a 23-year-old with abs over 13 years of marriage. This knowledge made him harder. Colder. But also clearer. He thought about stoicism, about control, acceptance, virtue. About the only things truly within his power: his thoughts, his actions, his character. He couldn't control Sarah's choices. He couldn't control Jared's moral bankruptcy. He couldn't control the collapse of his marriage. But he could control how he responded. He could have killed Jared. The gun was loaded. The kid was right there. For a moment, in that apartment, Marcus wanted to. But he didn't. Not because of the legal consequences. Not because he was afraid. Because it wouldn't have changed anything. Jared would be dead, but Sarah would still be a cheater. The marriage would still be over. And Marcus would have destroyed himself in the process. The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury. Asterisk. Marcus chose to be better. Not forgiving, he'd never forgive Sarah, and he didn't need to. But better. Disciplined. Focused on what he could control. He was building again. Not a marriage this time. Not a family. Himself. Stronger. Wiser. Impervious to the kind of betrayal that had nearly destroyed him. The fireworks exploded overhead, gold and silver against the black sky. Marcus raised his glass of whiskey to the year that had broken him. And to the man he was becoming in the aftermath. This story asks us the hardest questions about love, trust, and betrayal, asterisk asterisk. Would you have pulled the trigger? Could you have walked away? When everything you built collapses in front of you, what kind of person do you become? Marcus chose discipline over destruction. Stoicism over revenge. But the cost was everything he believed about love and trust. Was it worth it? Can you rebuild yourself after that kind of betrayal? Or does something inside you stay broken forever, asterisk asterisk? Drop your thoughts in the comments. If this story moved you, hit that like button. And subscribe,
because every week, we dive into the stories that ask what you do when life forces you to choose between who you are and who you become. ***. See you in the next one. ***.